Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kelly. If you are new here, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button down below and hit those notification bells so you're notified every single time I upload. It means the world to me. Today's video is going to be, we're going to talk to each other. We're going to talk to each other about celiac disease myths, things that people assume about celiac disease but aren't necessarily true. I've got some things on my phone I'm going to go over with you guys, and yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. So I have a few things here. First one I have is celiac disease is an allergy, and actually it is not. It is an autoimmune disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease that affects the body. It can kind of affect the body as in like you take or eat gluten, which is wheat, barley, oats, or rye. Depending on the oats, oats can be gluten-free if they are labeled correctly and made correctly. So celiac is basically like you damage your small intestine when you eat gluten. So it is not an allergy, it is when the body attacks itself when you have gluten. Celiac disease only affects children, and that is also a myth. So celiac disease does not only affect children. I actually didn't know I had celiac disease until I was 19. My dad didn't know until he was in his 40s. So it definitely does not just affect children. So I am a case in point. Even though I was in my later teen years, people do find out later in life. So that is definitely a myth. Okay, another one is celiac disease is pretty rare, and that is false. Celiac disease affects 1 in 100 people. And that's a lot if you think about it. That's 1 in 100 people worldwide. So it affects people all over the place. In the US, it says that only 10 to 15% of Americans have been diagnosed. People don't realize they have celiac until almost 11 years after they've already had symptoms or have been developing symptoms. So that's a really long time. Celiac goes away in time and cures on its own. No, unfortunately not. There is no cure for celiac disease. There is no medication that you can take for celiac disease. I wish there was, because I would be first in line for that. I would be the first one in line going, hey, I need to get on that train because I miss some bread. I miss my peanut butter sandwiches. I've talked about in other videos, peanut butter sandwiches are like my favorite thing ever. So I really would be first in line for that treatment if there is ever going to be one. So another thing that's a myth is a gluten-free diet is healthy and is great for everybody. And that is actually not true. If you have a celiac or a gluten if you have a gluten sensitivity and you are allergic, which means like you are like almost lactose intolerant. Gluten intolerance is like the simpler version of saying like a gluten sensitivity. But with a gluten-free diet, people can have deficiencies in vitamins and minerals that are super important. And yes, it could be healthier if you're eating like, you know, not the processed foods that gluten-free foods are. Unfortunately, they have a lot of gluten-free processed foods, like the packaged foods. That stuff is not healthy, and people think it is. It's not, trust me. So celiac disease is not a serious problem or a serious disease, and that is completely false. People with celiac disease have horrible symptoms and can be extremely devastating to the body, and it can be, you know, affect people's lives extremely harshly, because if you're going to eat something, your body is saying that you need the nutrients and it's not getting it. So it's definitely a serious disease. It's definitely something that you should be taking seriously and looking into. If you feel like you might have something like that, definitely talk to your doctor. Of course, I am not a doctor of medicine. Next one says celiac disease is the same thing as gluten sensitivity, and that is not true. Gluten sensitivity, like I said previously, is like lactose intolerant. It does not attack your body, and you actually test negative, like if you're looking for the antibodies like you would have if you have celiac disease. So celiac is not the same thing as gluten sensitivity, and there's actually one that ties into this that is there's no way to diagnose celiac disease, and there actually is. So people get tested. I got blood tested for it to see if I had the antibodies for it, and I did. And the most common one, I looked it up because I was not sure, and the most common one is the TTG-IGA test, and that's when it screens for your antibodies to see if you have celiac disease, because it is an autoimmune disease, so you're going to have antibodies for it. Oh my god, the train is coming. Every single time I film, the train comes. Literally every single time I film. Okay, I think it's past. Where was I? I was talking about the antibodies. So the test, you can get tested, and even still, if you have celiac disease, you can be tested negative for the antibodies because your body might have already been gluten-free, and you know your body's not attacking itself at that point, the whole thing. So you can actually get a biopsy of your small intestine, and to confirm, that confirms the diagnosis. So you can do the gene for it, you can be tested for the antibodies, you could get the biopsy. There's ways to be tested for celiac disease. Okay, so the last one I'm gonna go over is, it says people with celiac disease can trust gluten-free restaurants and menu items. Actually, you can't always trust it. You can't trust that it's 100% gluten-free because there's cross-contamination in the kitchens possible that are, you know, if you're at a pizza restaurant and they're like, oh, you have gluten-free pizza, we have a gluten-free crust, but the only problem is that it could be possibly cross-contamination from being around the other things, and or we cook it in the same oven, we use the same gloves, yada, yada, yada. So on and so forth, it could be a problem. So you can't 100% trust it, but you just do your due diligence, and of course take it upon yourself to ask the servers and ask for, you know, clarification from management, whatever, chef, things like that. I definitely recommend doing that. I actually talked about it, I think, in one of my What I Eat in a Days, where I went out to eat and I kind of gave you guys some tips on how to, you know, order at restaurants, make sure that you're doing your due diligence and making sure that you're taking care of your body. If you guys want me to talk about that a little bit more in depth, leave a comment down below and I definitely will. But yeah, that wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoy making these sit down videos, but I also really enjoy making others. So if you have any ideas or recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. I will definitely be looking into them. And yes, I will see you guys very soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and those notification bells before you leave. We are almost at 300 subscribers. We're so close. And I've been doing this for about a year, so it's kind of cool that we're almost hitting that like 300 subscriber mark. So make sure you're hitting those notification bells and those buttons before you leave, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.